give Mr. Harity a lot of credit and empathy as to dealing with this case. I guess we all at some point have the challenge of trying to reach what we consider the fairest and most balanced conclusion that we can. And I have struggled with the case because, as you said, I wanted to make sure that we were looking at it on the land use code. And I read the Department of Transportation's evaluation that responded to the concerns by the community on the accidents that were a concern to them. And that evaluation, that very clearly highlights the lack of increased intensity that our Department of Transportation expects to be experienced in terms of accidents on Post Head Road. While nothing is a predictor, this is generally what we're guided by, and it's guided by the recommendations of staff, recommendations of the Planning Commission, our own evaluation, and the requisite data. The case reminds me of the second most, I think it was the difficult case I've had to deal with, and it was a school site. And it was all about traffic. And we worked for months in delaying it, trying to come up with the right decision on the traffic. And when we finally, and I think I removed a portion of the attendance out of the school. But I want to tell you, after having made the recommendation to approve it, recognizing I had made an awful lot of people unhappy. 2 years later, after the school was built, the group of folks that I had called within the church community, as well as in the neighborhood, that had said that this was bad, bad, bad. And I called them the born-again supporters of the development, because what they perceived would be the concern has yet to develop. And I think sometimes it's difficult to take the analysis that you're given as fact and act upon it as fact. And today, I'm having a hard time not accepting the analysis that has been given, as well as the prior recommendations for approval. And so, while I respect and would like to make sure that I'm listening to Mr. Harity and the constituents that he represents, I find it difficult not making this, not supporting his recommendations. And I go back to the long history of this location as to how it's been judged. And I think it's sometimes we need to move on, and as Mrs. Gross has said, the opportunity for the improvements for many of the concerns that have been made, and the development conditions. The development conditions are more striking than any public school facility that I can ever think of. And yet, the recommendation on the table would deny it. So I would not be able to support it.
Additional discussion?